If I make it through this entire video without pausing to go make myself some hot chocolate, that will be a feat. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. I recently, and by recently I mean I finished it this morning before work, read Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. This is a magical realism historical fiction novel that was first published in 1989 in Spanish. It is set in Mexico in I think the first part of the 1900s. Part of it takes place during the Mexican Revolution, which I want to say was around 1910. I should probably look at this. Also, there's a Model T Ford by the end of the book, so it's roughly that time period. Like I said, historical fiction. We follow a girl to woman named Tita. She is the youngest daughter of a ranch family, so her family owns a ranch. Seems to be well off but not super rich is the impression I get. She's the youngest of 3 daughters and all sorts of things happen, but after her birth, her father dies of a heart attack, then her mother sort of goes even more off the rails, and so she is raised by a cruel and demanding and abusive mother and the family's loving and caring and kind cook. Tita spends all of her time in the kitchen with the cook because her mother can't take care of her, and she becomes just incredibly gifted with food. She's so talented, she's the best cook, she cooks everything perfectly, her food is so magical. And when she's 15, she meets a local boy/young man and they fall in love and they want to get married, but her family has this weird tradition where the youngest daughter isn't allowed to marry and has to stay home until her mother dies to take care of her mother. So Tita's no, I don't want to do this, I want to get married, and her mom is basically no, you're not. You're staying here, and, beats her terribly. It's very awful. Everyone in this book, with the exception of 2 characters, treat Tita just horribly all the way through. And so Tita has to stay home with her mother, and her lover, this young man that she's in love with, Pedro, says, well, if I can't marry you, sure, I'll marry your older sister. This was apparently a sensible thing when Tita's mother proposes it. Basically, from here on out, we have decades of drama. So many different things happen in this book. It's just continual plot. There is so much that happens, and I'm not going to say any more because it would get spoilery, and I think it's a really good book and you should read it, so I'm not going to say what all the plot points are, but wow, there are a lot of plot points. And it is pure drama. That might put some of you off. I don't know. I think if I had known before deciding to read it how soap opera-y a lot of the plot is, I probably would have been put off. If I had known a lot about all of the events that had happened, I probably would have gone, that's not gonna be a book for me. I'm not gonna like that. But I didn't know that much going in, and actually it really works. I'm not usually someone who, I think anyways, maybe I am, I don't think I would usually have liked this sort of family drama, everyone treating the main character terribly, all sorts of misery type of plot, where just nothing ever goes right. Things are always happening awfully. I don't think that's usually for me. However, because of the magical realism, it actually totally worked for me. I'm not an expert on magical realism. I haven't read that much and I don't know that much about it, so I don't want to put this wrong. But the sort of fantastical elements for me made the bonkers interpersonal plots work. What would have just felt ridiculous felt compelling and I could buy it more. Still don't always agree with the decisions the character made or like the characters that she likes necessarily, and I think I am maybe a bit too pragmatic for overwhelming romanticism, but the magical realism element made it so that I could buy that. It lent a certain element of, well, of course that's going to happen, because of course it is, instead of going, why the fuck is that happening? This is hard to explain. It's a short book. You should just read it and talk to me about it. I thought that actually worked really, really well, and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed the drama, given that it was something I wouldn't normally go for. Another thing I found super interesting is the structure of this book. So I don't have it in front of me, but the subtitle is something along the lines of a story in 12 parts with recipes and home remedies or something. Each chapter contains a recipe. The chapter starts starts with a list of ingredients, and then whatever food the recipe is about is integral to that part of the story. It's not like it's ingredients and then directions. The directions are worked into the story. Tita is cooking whatever the recipe for that chapter is while the events of the story are happening. That recipe is a key plot point in inciting something to happen, because Tita will cook something and then people will eat it and then they have these reactions that, again, magical realism, right? It just makes sense. I really enjoyed, is what I'm trying to say, how integral the food was to this story. This is not a story about someone who happens to be cooking while they have a romance going on. No. The food is like interwoven, a key plot point, affects the story. Just, it's so cool, and I'm not explaining this well. I might be a little mushy-brained at this point. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this book. I was pleasantly surprised by how much food there was in this book, and I'm really excited to read more magical realism. It's not a genre I have touched in a while, but I feel like I've always really enjoyed it when I have read it, so I really need to do a bit more of a deep dive into more magical realism. Now, I'm going to stop filming right now, but in just a moment, video time, I will touch base after I have watched the movie and can give some thoughts about how I thought the movie adaptation was, and I don't know, we'll see. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I have not seen the movie. I wanted to watch the movie last night, and I had plans to do so. I had checked a few weeks ago, and I thought the movie was on Canadian Netflix. I was sure I had seen it there or somewhere else, and then I went to watch it last night, and it's like nowhere. I couldn't find Netflix, it wasn't on iTunes to rent, it wasn't on Amazon Prime Video. Like, I just couldn't find it anywhere. So honestly, it was late by the time I went to go watch it last night, and I wasn't up to try and find a torrent and download that and watch it on my laptop or something. I just wanted to sit on the couch and watch a movie on the TV, so I have not seen it yet. I do want to watch it eventually, so let me know down below if you would like me to make a follow-up video when I've seen the movie and let you know my thoughts on that. But for now, I'm just going to wrap up this video, so let me know down below if you have read Like Water for Chocolate and what you thought of it. Does it sound like a book you'd be interested in? And if so, what parts sound interesting? Also, what have you guys been reading for Book Buffet? I hope you've been reading some great food writing in August. I know I have. It's been so much fun, and I can't wait to get to my next book. Alright, if you like this video, please give it a like down below. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.